The pain of loneliness, however, springs from a darker place because separateness and disconnection are not of our choosing. Loneliness, more than some other emotions, has a strong physical component. You may feel heavy, leaden, listless, hollow, bored, or antsy. You may feel isolated, apart, and excluded, even experiencing a surreal sense of being on the outside looking in. Loneliness is the feeling of discontent, disconnection, and aloneness, an ache for human contact. It's not related to the number of people in a room or in your life, as much as the depth of attachment and breadth of connection. Isolation and disconnection can be intensely depressing, often accompanied by feeling unwanted, unneeded, invisible, sad, abandoned, rejected, and helpless. A belief that you are unloved and unlovable can be such a strong undercurrent that it strikes at the core of your self-esteem. Feeling worthless, hopeless, and set apart from the human race, you might wish you had never been born or even want to die. One of the loneliest times in my life was after a complicated relationship. The guy that I was with was not compatible with me. I was not compatible with him. We had a somewhat strong connection when we met, but it was based on our mutual traumas. I had much growth that I needed to do and much healing in that growth. He was set on himself as he was. This was likely a coping mechanism not to deal with complicated feelings about his life before we met. The most challenging part of our relationship was how lonely I felt when I was with him. He could be right next to me, but the wall was so high that I couldn't reach him. When the relationship ended, I realized that I had isolated myself from friends and family members, and I had tried so hard to make it work that I had even separated myself from myself. It was a challenging year to follow. It was a year filled with shame and disconnection, pain and suffering, and daily I acknowledged how lonely I felt in this world. It brought up how disconnected my family is. It brought up how hard it was to lose my mother when I was 21. It brought up memories of sitting on the street corner waiting for my mother to come pick me up after ballet, which she was always late for. And it was always following a tough time where I was being pushed and didn't feel like I had any friends. It felt like my life had been a lonely adventure. I have had amazing experiences, but they seem to be only my own, and very few felt shared with others. With the work I did around loneliness, I found that I was afraid to connect with people, that they might leave, that they might abandon me, and that they might also die. I felt safer being alone, but alone, I couldn't have what you get out of being with other people. It's been 5 years since that experience, and I still struggle with being in large groups and feeling uncomfortable with social situations. I've struggled to start new relationships as I'm afraid of what they will see when I'm vulnerable, and I know that that's the work to do. Loneliness pushed me into the place of learning to be with other people. I also learned that I didn't believe that I could be with myself. I mean that I could be alone, but not with my emotions. Now I can hang with them all, albeit challenging.